Hey everybody, this is Dragnix here, and I figured that we needed to start this episode off with a bang. Too much? Whatever. This is the Swindle, $14.99. It is 10% off during its promotional period. It'll probably be like $13.89 or something like that. It is a procedurally generated steampunk stealth game. Yeah, a little bit of a mishmash of things, but it can work. Now, before I begin this Let's Try, I want to make sure that you guys know that this key was obtained from the developer. I reached out to them, asked if I could cover their game. In response, they gave me a key. So keep that in mind as I go forward. Now, this is a stealth game. What is the idea here? Well, we are in London, and London is going through a little bit of a change here. Basically, the idea here is that they're going to implement Skynet, but for thieves. We need to earn as much money in 100 days as possible. We do that by going through these various houses and collecting as much cash as possible. Now you see here, my hero here is trying to figure out exactly how to do that most effectively. Now, there are certain bags of money that you can pick up, but the biggest prizes in the game are those terminals. Those terminals are what you're going to use to get the big amounts of cash. As you see here, I'm hacking the mine so that I don't have to deal with it. And then I hacked the computer to earn some cash from my own bank account. 3,000 pounds, not bad at all. Now, the idea here is that it is a stealth game, and once you're caught, you're gonna run into problems. The longer you're caught, the more problems you're gonna run into, as in more police are gonna come, more enemies are gonna get a little bit more excited at that point. So now, the idea here is that, yeah, you need to go through and get as much cash. Does that work? I need to sort of phrase this in a weird way. Does it work once you get towards the middle of the game? Yes, it does. When you have a set of abilities and the ability to do things like this, be able to place TNT down to get through certain parts of the level, yes, it does work. I say that specifically because the game's start is very slow. When you start off, you really have no abilities. You don't even have the ability to hack. And you earn money, you pay for those skills. Hacking, for example, costs $1,000 or 1,000 pounds in this case. But, well, okay, and you see I've been caught here at this point, so I'm trying to figure out how to get best through the area here. I'm gonna jump up, and I'm gonna realize that I killed that enemy, but forget that I can't land on top of the enemy, lose all the cash. Unfortunately, that run wasn't very good. It does punish you for making mistakes, and this game, more than anything, punishes you for one mistake. Now, like you see here, there are upgrades that you can get. I can get abilities like, another jump, or the ability to sort of wall jump in ways, or being able a little bit more sneaky, hacking skills, things like that. These are essential. Being able to hack, being able to put down TNT, for example, are essential. Being able to unlock the next set of levels to get more money. Now, in that, it's very unforgiving, especially early on. If you are a person who needs to get into the core of the game right away, this game isn't for you, because unfortunately, it doesn't do that very well. I think I actually die here, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, I died. This game is hard. Let's put it that way. It is not a walk in the park. But once you get used to things, you'll understand that, you need to take things at a timely pace. You need to understand how enemies move and how, in particular, to deal with mines, whether or not to activate the mines or whether or not to just sort of run for it and avoid them altogether or hack them. Now, there's a risk and reward mechanic here, but the thing is that what I find problematic about it is that it's very centered towards those terminals that I showed you before. Because you see here, I earned 272 cash. When you get 3,000 from a terminal, the cash that you get from $273 doesn't make a lot of sense. And I really feel like that needs to be balanced for people to actually go after those other money piles, because in the end, when upgrades cost 20,000 at this point, there's no point going for those little ones. Yeah, they add up over time, but compared to the amount of time that you'll have to waste and the fact that you may lose all your money by dying, there's no point to it. Now, I do like the risk and reward mechanic there, where when the enemies come and when you get caught, you really have to make a decision. Do I get out or do I stay? It gets harder and harder as you stay for every second that you stay, because more police are going to come. Enemies are a little bit agitated at that point, but in that same retrospect, you may need to get that cash. Now, one of the bad things about this game is its teaching tools. Unfortunately, when you start the game, it teaches you absolutely nothing. It tells you that you can, like, you know, use Y to hack something once you get the hacking skill. But it doesn't teach you a little bit about the mechanics of the game, like how glass can be looked through. It doesn't teach you that. And when I first ran into that enemy that was looking through the glass, I died. Also, things like this. I'm going to try to explode my way over to that area, the security terminal there, to try to shut down things. Little do I know that exploding it, and I thought I was far enough away, but exploding it actually causes the security alarms to go off. It makes sense, but that's the kind of tutorials that I would expect to see in a game like this. And unfortunately, it's very much a trial by error situation, and when every day of the 100 days makes a difference, you're really going to sort of get angry with it. Not only that, with the upgrade system, some of the features of the upgrade system I really think should have been there to begin with. In games like this, the look feature is essential just to see if you're running into trouble, especially in a one-hit kill situation. This game's upgrade is one of those. I don't understand that. I really don't, and I think that is, again, a bad design decision choice. Now, there is a sense of precision problems in the game. Like when you see here, for example, he's going to be able to look through that glass, for example. But the edge of his view sight, if you're actually in that won't trigger you. Same thing with your swing mechanic. You can not be in that swing mechanic, for example. Or I'm sorry, you could be in that swing mechanic in terms of that sort of arc, and it won't actually damage the enemy. It's not one-to-one in terms of the accuracy, and that can be problematic for a game that's really based on, you know, being very, very specific and not screwing up. Yeah, chain reaction. Again, a little bit of a problem, but this time around I said, you know what, screw it. I don't only have that much money, I've lost too many days, and so I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try to get through it, and I think I do, actually, from what I remember. Now, don't get me wrong, I've complained a lot about the game, but the game is fun at its core. The fact is that if you're a stealth kind of person, this game is for you. It gives you rewards for methodically thinking things out and looking at things in a different light. When you start to realize the different paths you can take and how to use the equipment at your disposal, you can really take advantage of things. Like here, I can open this door and just let the enemy run into it in terms of the mine, rather than take a chance of him turning around at the wrong second. As you see here, I've hacked the mine, and now it's gone. I'm gonna take this cash. There's another terminal there that I'm gonna definitely wanna get. Now, overall, that is good for the gameplay, but the question is, does it hold up? The procedural generation does do a good job in keeping things fresh, although it doesn't have enough procedure. A lot of times you'll get into situations where you get rooms that have like 2 enemies in them and don't have anything else. Like there's literally no reason to go into that room. I do wish they would have put a little bit more rules on that, but as you see, the police are coming for me there. Little do they know that I'm getting away. Now, I like the steampunk theme of the game, and I do like some of the visuals that the game puts on. Some cases. Early on in the game, when there's a lot of brightness in certain areas where you sort of blend into the background, I think it really did actually hurt the game, because it was hard to see what was going on at times without, you know, just sort of squinting at screen, and I really don't think that's a good way of presenting visuals like that. Now, even with all of that I've said about the features and how they sort of presented gameplay, when the gameplay gets going here, you do feel the tension, especially when you don't know exactly how to deal with the situation, and it's going to throw you into those situations. It's going to throw you into no winnable situations too, where really there's nothing you can do, whether you don't have the equipment for it or whether or not the enemy configuration just doesn't work. Now, it goes for a realistic element there, but I will say it will cause frustration for certain people, because on that same note, that unwinnable portions like, why am I playing it? There was no point for me to try at that point. Now, what I'm talking about are things like where early on in the game, you don't have the ability to place TNT, for example, and you'll get into situations where there are rooms completely blocked off where you need to use TNT. Seems a little bit contradictory, but it doesn't happen that often, and usually you have enough time to deal with that in terms of, okay, you can just go to another day. Now, I haven't made it very far in the game, unfortunately, in terms of the days portion, and you need more money to unlock the next levels. Now, whether or not they introduce more challenge, they actually introduce a lot of challenge right away. In fact, there's, again, a learning curve problem that I see as the game develops, but it definitely has brought the challenge, and again, makes sort of a thinking man's kind of game. Even with the sort of impreciseness of some of the controls, like you'll find yourself like trying to jump in a way early on, and especially even after you get the double jump, where you want to position yourself in a way that you fall right into the enemy because there's only 2 spaces between you and the wall, and you have to sort of fall into that one space in order to hit the enemy before he turns around. The preciseness does seem like a problem at times, unfortunately, with the controls. In particular, sometimes the horizontal versus the vertical jump. Sometimes my character attempts the wall jump when he's sort of near a wall, and that's actually led to my death. You can die from falling damage in this game, which is completely and utterly weird, and I don't understand why that was there. Overall, stealth connoisseurs, you're gonna like this game. It's got a lot of problems with it, and I do think design-wise, there are issues with it over a period of time. For the stealth connoisseur, they're gonna love this game, and they're gonna love the randomly generation, they're gonna love the thinking portions of it. There is not an emphasis on combat, and if you're a patient player, you're going to enjoy it. If you're not, this isn't for you, because you're gonna have to be patient. Trying to sort of jam yourself in there and take care of situations like that, it ain't gonna work. And in particular, when the game sort of doesn't play to how you want to play, if you're not flexible enough to deal with the situation that's coming at you, you're not going to enjoy it, because this game is going to make you have to do something different, because not every situation can be taken care of with a TNT. All right, this is Dragnix signing out. I hope you got the information that you needed about the Swindle. Again, I will leave my review in the description below. Like it, dislike it, do what you want. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this content and want to see more of it, you may want to hit that subscribe button on the left-hand side. If you like this video and want to see more of this content, take a look at this video on the left-hand side as well. And if you've missed my last video, take a look at the right-hand side. Once again, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.